Hi, I'm Heather with Ajagara Yoga. Today we'll be doing a short class on the Sun Salutations, Surya Namaskar in the Sanskrit, both Series A and B. We will also be doing Chandra Namaskar, which is the Moon Salutation. Most of you that have taken vinyasa classes before are probably familiar with the Series A. You do see them for warm-ups a lot in classes, and when you do the little vinyasa sequence in between poses or transitions, it's a modified version of the Series A as well. So you're probably going to be familiar with it. I know most of the teachers that I've had in the past have very lightly touched on Series B, and very fewer have even touched on the Moon one. So I thought it would be very fun to do that today as well. So just to let you know, anybody is welcome to take this class. I welcome and appreciate anybody who is here watching this. I am recording this for potential students. Anybody who is interested in potentially taking classes with me can get an idea of what my teaching style looks like. And I do offer classes both in person and online as a one-to-one, like on a Zoom meeting or something like that. So just throwing it out there so you know. So anyway, with that being said, let's get started. So a couple things before we get moving is the first one is breathe. Always remember to breathe. It's very important in yoga. I know that our tendency is to hold our breath when we're exerting ourselves, but really pay conscious attention to your breath. I will cue it as often as I can. However, there are other things to be mentioning, like giving directions on how to do the actual poses. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing is really engage your abdominal muscles. So when I say that, what it means is, in its very simplistic nutshell, because this is only a very basic class, you know that feeling you get when you're trying to put on a pair of jeans that's too tight? They might have just come out of the washing machine. You might have just had a very large dinner, but whatever it is, they don't want to quite fit. And you really have to suck in your belly to get them on and get that zipper done up. If you think about it, or remember that feeling, you'll notice that your core muscles all kind of suck back. And you may even kind of get a feeling like your belly button's going right towards your spine, depending on how much you have to squeeze. That is the feeling we're aiming for. Like I said, I'm oversimplifying, but for our purposes today, that'll be good. Keep your core engaged as much as possible. It will help support all your body for everything else that we're doing, and it will really make a difference along with the breathing. I know it's a lot to think about all at once, but there we have it. So the first couple poses I'm actually going to do facing you so you can see what I'm doing. And then after that, I'll move to facing the front of the mat, so I will be in the same direction you are. When these poses come up again in the future, I will be facing the front of the mat, but I just wanted to let you know that that's what I'm doing right now for the first two poses is not normal. So all of that being said, let's get started. So we're going to start with mountain pose. And to do mountain pose, you're going to put your feet as close to train track straight as you can. And you're going to curl your toes into the floor. And this is called Padabandha. Basically, it is a lock to help you stabilize and have extra support through your feet into the ground to help your balance. Once we're there, we're going to spread our hands so they are facing palms forward. And we're just going to take a moment to breathe here. Again, this is mountain pose. We're strong, we're steady, we're rock solid, just like a mountain. So breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. You can close your eyes if you want, but right now we're just looking for connection of breath. Keep your shoulders down and back. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, I like to do a little bit of a flourish with this, but if you want to just put your hands straight up, that's okay too. But we're going to put, in my case, I'm doing swan hands so that we are straight up. We are looking to hug the sun. So keep your hands spread with your fingers spread like that, so you're hugging it and you're grabbing it, because you can't really grab too much when you're like this. So we're going to, again, keep breathing in this position. Close your eyes if you'd like to, and be one with your breath. Now raise your head up to your hands, and you're going to look at your hands, look at that big orb in the sky, and we're going to pretend that that's not going to blind us. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I breathe in, I calm my body. I breathe out, I smile. Let's see everybody smile and relax their faces. So I'm going to go to the top of the mat now so I can follow what you're doing. So what we're going to do from here is our hands are still up, and we're going to hinge at the hips, not at the waist, the actual hips. And we're going to bend, and we're going to try to get our nose to our knees. Now, if you can't do that, that's okay. Now, if you want to bend your knees, you can go down as far as possible, just to kind of, you want that knees to nose. And as you get better at it and more flexible, you can straighten your legs more and more. It's also good to keep a little bit of a bend in your legs. You can see here I'm not entirely straight. We call it a micro bend, or at least that's what I've always called it. And it helps to protect your knee joints and ligaments from taking any excess wear from having that leg locked, because that can be very tough on the joints. So we're going to go from our forward fold into a half fold. So depending on your flexibility, some people might just want to walk their fingers forward a little bit, and we're aiming for a straight back as much as possible. If you don't have the flexibility for that, either you can use your shins, even your thighs, but you're aiming for that straight back, like a tabletop. So even if you're down like this, you still want it to be straight, even if you're on an angle. But if you're higher up and you've got that straight back going, you might want to kind of arch your back a little bit to get it, like arch down. It should be straight enough that I can rest my coffee cup on your back and it will stay there. At least that's the idea. So now that we're there, we're going to go back to our forward fold again. And hopefully you can get a little further into the stretch this time. We're starting to warm up a little bit. Now we're going to put our hands on the ground. If you have to bend down, do it as much as you have to. You just want your hands planted. Ideally, when you're planting your hands, you don't want to have your hands straight. You want to have a little bit of a lift. So you've got your finger pads, you've got this little part where your finger is attached to your palm, and you've got the heel of your hand. You want all of those points on your mat, but you want your actual palm itself to be raised a little bit. So pretend there's like a little stone under there and you don't want to put your hand on it. That is called Hasta Bandha. And again, it's like the one that we just talked about with the feet. It gives you more stability, and it will give you just basically overall better balance, better stability. It's a great thing to get used to doing if you aren't already doing it. So now that we're there, we're going to go into our little Hasta Bandhas, and we're going to step back our right foot as far as we can. We're going to step back our left foot as far as we can, and we're going to go into plank. Take a second to adjust. Now you want to make sure that you're all stacked. So that basically means that your shoulders are over your elbows, which are over your wrists. And I'm not going to make you hold this for too long, because I know if you're not used to doing it, it can be a bit of a push. I'm going to push forward with your toes, speaking of pushing. So you see my body went forward, and then we're going to lower as slow as possible back down to the ground. So this should put your hands right by your breastbone or your ribs. And then we're going to push up into what's called Cobra. So this is a wonderful lower back stretch. Probably a lot of people after the end of classes like to do this one. If you're a little bit stronger, you can always lift up your pelvis and your knees into upward dog. This one does require a fair amount of strength. I'm going to go back into Cobra for a second. Now what we're going to do is curl our toes under, push back with our hand, we're going to raise your hips, push back with your hands, and then keep going. And you want to get your hips up as high as possible. So pretend you're a very proud skunk who's lifting their tail and you're about to spray somebody. So that's kind of what position you're looking for. Now you've probably noticed that I walk my hands back a little bit to tighten up my dog. The reason why I did this is because our next step is going to be to lift our right foot, and we're going to suck in our stomachs to get some extra space, and we're going to try to swing that foot as close as we can to in between our hands. If you can't quite make it there, that's perfectly okay. And then we're going to bring our other foot up to meet it. As an alternate, if you can't do the swing, either because you don't have the strength or you don't have the mobility, it is okay to just shuffle or walk your feet up to where your hands are. And then we're going to go back into forward folds, back up into half folds, back down to forward folds. And you can always use your ankles or your shins for leverage a little bit too to get you into a deeper stretch. And then we're going to very slowly curl ourselves back up into standing. Raise up one vertebrae at a time. Bring your hands up. And we are back into raised mountain pose. Good job. That's Sun Salutation A. So that wasn't so bad, I don't think. So now we're going to go into Sun Salutation B. There's not a lot different. There's just a couple of extra moves, but it can feel like a bit much if you're not used to it. So again, we're going to start off with our mountain pose. And we're going to reach up. I know my hands are cutting off the camera a little bit. I'll see if I can move over. Look up towards your hands for a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lower our hands down to about a 45-degree angle. I know this is casual reference, but if you've ever watched a zombie movie, they've got that the hands or Frankenstein. That's the hand position you want. It is not quite straight, but a little bit up. Now you're going to bend your knees and we're going to sit on an invisible chair. Put your weight in your back heels, or if you want a bit of a challenge with stability, you can lean forward and go up on your tippy toes. And we're just going to hold that here for a moment or two. You should be really feeling it in the upper legs right about now, or maybe if you're a little stronger, not quite yet. You're going to sit here for 2 more cycles of breath. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. You can put your hands down and we're going to go right into a forward fold. I find it's a little easier out of chair because you already are halfway there. We're going to go up into a half fold again. And then we're going to go back into our forward folds. And then we're going to go into our plank. All right. Go down, 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 down after lifting your feet forward to give you that push. Up into cobra or up dog, whatever your preference is. Moving back a little bit. But again, remember whichever one you choose to keep your shoulders, elbows, and wrists all stacked in a straight line. Curl your toes under, push back for downward dog. If you want to close it up a little bit like I do, feel free. Now this is where it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing a stand, we're going to raise our leg, we're going to bring it through, and we're going to drop into a lunge. If you want to do a high lunge with the leg off of the mat, that's perfectly okay. Or if you would prefer to do a low lunge with your knee on the ground, that's fine. The main thing that you do want to watch out for is that this leg here is in a straight, almost 90-degree position as much as you can. Avoid putting your knee over your toes as much as possible, but if it's happening a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And then from here, we're going to really constrict our abs because this is a ab heavy movement. And we're going to raise up, stay in that lunge position, and we're going to lean back as far as we can without losing balance. And try to keep your head with your ears right up against where your arms are. And then we're going to come back down, and we're going to go back into plank. Everybody's favorite. Curl your toes forward for Chaturanga, which is the push-up down level. Down, down, down. Back up into Cobra. Curl your toes. Back up into Downward Dog. Again, bring it in if you need to. And now we're going to do it on the left side. So left foot goes up. If you want to lift your fingers up like spider fingers, what I just did too, that also helps. And we're going to bring it forward as much as we can. And if you have to kind of struggle a little bit to get your position and it's not the most graceful, like mine just now, that's perfectly okay too, as long as you eventually get there. And again, we're looking for that leg to be at close to a 90-degree angle as much as possible. So now that we're here, we're going to do the raise again. And you'll notice it is a bit of a challenge for balance too. We're going to come back down. And we're going to pull back into plank. Push forward on your toes. Down, 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 down for Chaturanga. Back up into Cobra. Back up into Downward Dog. Take a second to breathe here if you want. You can pedal out your legs a little bit, maybe sway your hips. You can also rock a bit, so like rock towards with your toes forward and then back, forward and then back. So you're kind of coming over your wrists, forward and back. And then after all that, we're going to step forward with our right foot again. Left foot follows. Going to go into our forward fold. Slowly creep up, but as you're creeping up, you want to bend your knees. And we are going back into chair. And I'm not going to make you hold it this time. And from there, we just go back into raised mountain. Look at your fingers for a second. And bring your hands back down to your sides. Good job. I know that one's a bit much, and especially I did make you hold some of that stuff for a bit. So I'm very proud of you for getting through that, even if you had to take a quick break on some of those poses and some of those holds. So good job, everybody. So now that we have finished Series A and Series B, we are going to do the Moon Salutation, Chandra Namaskar. So the way this one starts is you're going to be about in the center of your mat, more or less. And we are going to start off in prayer hands. Now, instead of doing the normal prayer hands like most people tend to do, keep your fingers, your sides of your hands, and your heels of your hands all together. And then you're going to separate your palms from each other so you get a little bit of a rosebud shape. This is called Anjali Mudra. It's also called Namaste Mudra. I prefer to use Anjali because when you say Namaste, people tend to get confused with the greeting. So I use Anjali. But basically, it is a sign of balance and the left and the right side of your brain working together. It's also a symbol of devotion. So it's a nice little thing to do. And remember, you can always devote to yourself with self-care. So it doesn't have to be to somebody else. So now that we're here, we are going to, I'm just going to step back so I don't lose the camera. We're going to raise our hands up above our heads. Separate your feet a little bit if you need to for balance. And then we're going to turn to the right, and we're going to bend as far as we possibly can without tipping over. Okay, feel the stretch. Now, when you do that, make sure that you're not folding forward or backwards. Pretend there's two panes of glass on either side of your front and back, and that you're squashed in between them and you can't go forward or back. Now we're going to come up. We're going to take a step out to the side. Another step out to the side. So you want your hips, you want your feet to be a little bit more than hip width apart. And you want to have them so that they are pointing to the top and the bottom of your mat. Now we're going to take our hands like this, and we're going to do what I like to call cactus arms. And now we're going to lower ourselves into goddess position. Again, remember we're between two panes of glass, so you want to keep your torso as straight as possible, and you want to make sure that your everything's up in alignment. You can see my knees are above my ankles. That's what you're aiming for. And just for the aesthetic, you want to make sure that your elbows and your knees are kind of stacked as much as your anatomy length will let you. And we're going to come back up straight. You can straighten your legs, your feet out a bit. And we're going to come into star. Some people like to do star like that, a little more like an X shape. It's up to you, whatever fits your practice, whatever is better for you. Now from here, we're going to go into triangle. So the best way to do triangle is to kind of lean forward, again, between our panes of glass. And when I say forward, I mean towards the back of our mat. And then we're just going to do that side bend again. And we want to have the back of our hand ideally touching our ankle. This isn't a flexibility pose. It's more of a balance pose. So you're not aiming to touch the floor, because you can see how my body changes shape when I do that. This is a chest opener. So you want to have that nice, not hair in my mouth. You want to have that nice open chest to keep everything straight. Lean back a little bit, whatever you have to do to keep this area in line with your leg. So now we're going into the flexibility part of it, where we're going to twist around, and we're going to aim for putting our hands on the floor if we can. If not, go for the shin, go for the ankle, go for whatever's comfortable. We want to keep our legs straight if possible. But again, if it's not possible, that's okay. Do what you have to do to get in this position. There's no right or wrong way to do things with yoga as long as it's safe. This isn't like ballet where everything has to be absolutely perfect. So from here, we're going to turn our foot. We're going to lower our leg. And we are going to go into another lunge. And from that, we're going to, again, the same as with Series B. We're going to go up. And then we're going to come down. And remember these side squats from gym class in high school? That's what we're doing. So we're just going to go there. If you're able to get your foot right flat on the floor, that's ideally where you're going to go. My anatomy doesn't allow me to do that at this point. Sometime eventually later, but not now. If your balance is a little off, do what I'm doing and just lightly put your fingers on the floor. You don't want to be putting pressure on your hands as a balance. You just want lightly to keep you from falling over. If your balance is a little better, you can put your hands into Anjali. And we're just going to sit here for a moment. Nice little break. Now what we are going to do is we are going to move into Malayasana, also known as garland pose or yogi squat. It's easier if your feet are a little further apart from each other. I always find if I do it from about the mat width, that always helps. Again, straighten your torso as much as you can and prayer hands. And now that we're done there, we're going to come back to this side. Congratulations, we've just met the halfway mark. And again, if you have the balance, Really grip those toes into the mat. That'll help you with not falling over. And then we are going to go into our lunge again. Same as before. Aim for that knee to be in that 90-degree angle if you can. And we are going to go up. Lean back as far as you can into that crescent lunge. We're going to come back down. Now this one's a little tricky. We're going to tuck our toes under and we're going to push back and we're going to straighten that leg at the same time. And you may need to bring your legs a little bit closer. And we're going to be in the stretchy version of triangle. So again, if you can hit the floor, great. If not, you hit whatever you can hit, whatever's comfortable for you today. Now we're going to take our left hand and we're going to put it on our left ankle, again with our hand to the back. And we're going to curl up into that hip opening. And again, your legs should be straight. I've got a little bit of an old injury, so I've been babying that leg a little bit, so you'll notice it hasn't always been quite straight as the other one. And from here, we are going to come back up into our star. Again, remember, you've got the option to put your arms up if you would like, or we can just float them here like we would in Warrior 2, for those of you who do have a yoga background and know what that means. We are going to drop down after we move our feet back into goddess pose. So remember, cactus arms, and our feet are, our ankles and our knees are lining up. Cactus arms, stand back up, step close back together. I'm taking a step back again so I don't lose the camera. Hands back up together in Anjali. And this time we're going to lean over to the left with those two panes of glass in between us. So you should really feel it on that those inner muscles. They might feel a little bit compressed even. If it's too intense, just pull back a little bit. And then we're going to straighten back up. Bring our hands down. And we are done. Congratulations, everybody. We've gotten through 2 series of Surya Namaskar as well as Chandra Namaskar. I'm really proud of you. Those are terrific warm-ups to use as well before our practice. And there is definitely a little bit of challenge to them. You can definitely put holds on things like goddess pose or the chair especially to give it some extra challenge or to give it some extra balances. So go ahead and play with that as well, because again, there's nothing wrong with adjusting or making verification. Let's try that again. There's nothing wrong with adjusting or making variations on poses. Instagram is full of people who've done that. So anyway, thank you very much again for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope that this is something that you're able to add to your practice. I know, like I said, the bee in the moon aren't seen as often, so I wanted to offer that today. And if you're interested in having me as a private teacher, either online or in person, please contact me in the comments and we can definitely set something up. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that too. Thank you very much again for being here, and have a great rest of your day.